Welcome to Unofficial ACI Guide. I'm Jody. Today we're going to be looking at VMM integration between ACI and VMware. Let's take a look.
All right, folks. What we're going to show you now is some VMM integration from ACI. We're on the virtual networking tab in the lab, and I'm here with Luis and Javed. And Luis is going to walk us through briefly how we configure a VMM domain and what that means from an ACI perspective. So, Luis, what I'm looking at right now, it looks like the domain that we have configured in the lab. Can you kind of just talk me through some of the configurations that we have here and what that looks like?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, everybody. So let me show you how do the VM integration. So this is already done, but I'm gonna show you how to do it from the beginning. So basically, you're gonna go to the tab. It says VM networking, and in this case, you can use Microsoft OpenStack, Red Hat, or VMware. So we're gonna do a VMware. We're gonna click in VMware. We're gonna create vCenter. And in here, here's the options we have. So we got this is for the virtual switch. So it could be VMware distributed switch, Cisco AVS, or Cisco AVE. So in this case, we're gonna go to the motion, but we're never gonna hit OK because since this is already done. So first we're gonna hit we're gonna add the name. In that case, we're gonna put test. Secondly, we're gonna attach the entity, the associated attachable entity profile, which already was created in the Fabric policy. We're gonna go there. We're gonna look for VM EAP in this case, or whatever name you decide to give him. Also, we're gonna add the VLAN, the VLAN pool, which is already was created in the Fabric policies. So we're gonna.
And Luis, what's the importance of the VLAN pool? Why? I mean, because in other examples, I've got a static VLAN pool that I use for bare metal. Why do I need a dynamic VLAN pool here for VMM?
Absolutely, great question. So in order to establish communication between the VM, the vSphere, and the ACI, the ACI want to assign to the vCenter, or they're going to be for the communication to have, they have to have a VLAN. In this case, instead of doing in a static adding manually, the ACI is going to assign a VLAN from the pool to the vCenter so they can talk to each other. Let me demonstrate.
So it's basically it's like a bucket of VLANs then, right?
Correct. And
okay.
Exactly, that's right. That's the way you put it. That's the best way to put it. So we're gonna, since we already add the VLAN pool, since we already add the VLAN, the VLAN pool that was created in the Fabric access policy, only need to do is add it, or we can actually create it. But here, this is the same thing going to the Fabric, but in this case, it was already done. So we're just gonna go and assign it to the VLAN pool. We're gonna go here, VM dynamic VLAN pool, and call it a day. The next step is create the credential that we're gonna use to log into the vCenter. So since the vCenter obviously is already created, the only thing we need to do is add the credential, the username and password, how to log into the vCenter. In this case, we're gonna go here, add, you put a name. In this case, we're gonna put test credential. And the username that I'm obviously for VMware, be administrator, vSphere, local, and your password. So we do Cisco 123. This is just a Cisco 123, which is not the password, but this is just an example. And hit OK. Also, and then here we need to add the vCenter IP In this case, we're gonna call it vCenter. Test, and the IP, in my case, 198.18, 133.101. And this is the part that's very important because you need to match the data center that you're using in the vCenter. In my case, I go to the vCenter just to confirm. I'm using data center DC1. So they have to match. If you don't match, you won't be able to start any the communication. So I just type
And you're
DC.
talking uppercase and lowercase as well, right?
That is correct. Well, yeah, letter by letter or character by character. And we're using the we're gonna be using the auto band in this case. Where's my auto? Oh no, actually managing IP. No, we leave that alone. And the credential that we created before, which is test credentials, and hit OK. And now, then the next is the number of links we have. In this case, we have, let's say, 2. And the port channel. This is for the policy, for the port channel policy. And we can do channel on, LACP, or MAC pinning. In this case, we're gonna be using, let's say, LACP active. And also we need to select either the LDP or CDP. Usually it goes with LDP, and hit submit. So I don't want to hit submit right now because it's already created. So, but let's see what we got already configured in our case. So let's say I submit it, and this will be the results of the submission. So we're gonna go check this one by one. Okay, so like I said before, we use the VLAN pool. Same VLAN pool we're using in the sample, and the credentials at the same time here. Go down. Actually, this is the VMM domain. My apologies. Close that. Here's the credentials. The credential, you give it an A, and like I went through the whole sample, and also the vCenter IP, and the open this guy. Let's see. So like I showed before, DC1, the IP, and the login, which is the new credentials. Close that. So, and we go to the vSwitch policy. And this is when we have the LDP and the port channel policy. And we're using LACP, and we're using LDP enable. And right now, no faults. And this is the vCenter that is online. It shows that it's online right now.
So we've got, you've shown us how you can configure this from ACI and how you communicate with vSphere. What does this functionally look like? Because you've got tenants and EPGs. How does an EPG, what does that mean in vSphere, right? How does that translate?
Thanks for the question. That's just a good question. So now that we have the vCenter, that we confirmed the vCenter is actually integrated with ACI, we're gonna go to the tenant and the APG. The APG, what we translate is to report group. Let me show you how it's get done in the tenant part. So we go to the tenant. In this case, we're using Pro. Come on. So we go to one of the EPGs. So let's say 102, EPG 102. So the first thing we need to do after creating the PG, we're going to add the domain, which is the VM domain that we have over here. This is the one we just created. So when I add that to the EPG, what is going to happen, it's going to create a port group. That's what it translates to, Yori. It's going to create a port group in the vCenter. So let me show you that. Go to the vCenter and go to networking. And here, immediately I did that, I add the VM domain. This is created. Then when we add the EPG, it creates this program called Pro 102, Net 102. That's what it translates to. So just to be more precise, I'm gonna just do an example. So it will show guys how to do that. So I'm gonna create my EPG with test EPG. I'm gonna just select any bridge domain just for show. We're gonna use 103 and finish. Now we're gonna add the VM domain.
Yeah, because at this point we haven't pushed the EPG to vSphere until you add it to the VMM domain, right?
That's correct. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. I immediately we push that, it will create the whole we showed over here. We want to create this what you call it, DBS. Yeah, the DBS. It created the DBS first, but then when you start adding EPGs, then it's going to create the port groups. In this case, I want to show that VMware, and then immediate, and remember the VLAN dynamic we have. That's what they used for the communication. And submit. Now go back here, and here we had the port group called test. That's exactly what happened using the VLAN 274. So okay. It was from the dynamic pool that we created before. It was between 200 and 299. So just pick anything and it just assign whatever VLAN in that pool and create the the port group, in this case called test. So far so good. You have any questions?
No, this looks great.
Right. So we're gonna delete.
Can we take a look at maybe like the one of the EPGs? And I just want to, because I saw 274 from vSphere. Does that match up with what we see in ACI? So if we looked at like Net 100 EPG or the port group Net 100 EPG here, I want to look and see what network tag or VLAN tag that's using. That's using. Oh, it's an isolated. Okay. Let's look.
Yes.
Yeah, let's look at 101. Let's look. So 101 is using VLAN ID 200. I just want to. Is there somewhere in the GUI or on the switch that you can show me that matches up?
Absolutely. So, and the we're gonna go to ACI. You want to see it in the GUI or you want to see it in the fabric in the leaf?
Yes.
In the leaf?
Yeah, both of them would be good. So let's look at the Net 100 EPG. Let's look at the operational tab first.
Yeah, sure.
And see what
that
looks like.
Absolutely. So in Net 101, we're gonna go to operational. Here's the VMs.
And how can you tell they're VMs?
Because it says here, learn for VMN.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good questions.
And then the end cap over there, it's not can't quite see it, but if
right
you hover over the button, there you go, 200. Okay. 200.
Yeah.
And that matches what we saw. Okay.
Correct. And this is different. The reason is different because, hold on a second. This using this guy here. No, that's the same VM. So sorry, same VLAN. Sorry, I tried to. Oh, let me just move this guy to this here. Here we go. Now we can see it. 200 and 200.
Right, and the difference between the VLAN tags, the end caps, are some of those are bare metal servers, and some of those are VMs, right?
That's right. So yeah, they're correct. There's some bare metal, some there's some exactly. And this is you see this is learned via VM, VMN.
Right.
Okay. So you also want to see it in the leaf as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go to the diagram. And we are using okay, me market and mouse. So we're gonna go meerkat and mouse. Now this guy. So we go to meerkat. So show. So let's say let me so more precise. We're using a VPC going to. Sorry, I'm looking for my looking for my VMs, my C series.
C
Okay.
series. There you go. Yeah.
Well, that's the V series.
Mm-hmm.
And the C series is actually hanging off the 5K, and
Yeah.
there's so, but it's still it's a VPC to the 5K. If I go here, show VPC, is the VLAN here. $200. You see that right there?
Yep. So if you do a show VLAN extended, that should show that as well, huh?
Exactly. Show VLAN extended. There we go. 200 is equivalent
There it is.
to 21 right there.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Here we
Well,
go.
Luis, this has been very informative. I appreciate your time. Good stuff.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for watching the video today. If you'd like more ACI how-tos, design guides, and best practices, check us out on the web at unofficialaci guide.com or on YouTube.